less you liked him, the less, and that's I think that's typical of intelligence people. That is, people in the from the intelligence agency. You don't want to know too much about them, you know. And in terms of a dramatic character, it was better to leave things unsaid. Where are you taking me, Marty?
It seems we've taken us, Jack. Satellite now entering target area.
Into battle.
One of the most interesting sequences in Patriot games is the SAS attack on the alleged terrorist camp in North Africa.
The desert attack sequence, I think, is one of the most powerful in the film, dramatically. I think it's a wonderful blending of the technology and the drama. When you watch the Jack Ryan character's reaction to the kills that he sees via the satellite imagery, it's very, very powerful.
Most of it was filmed by our second unit director, David Ellis, using storyboards that I provided him. And then I shot the sequence set in CIA headquarters where Jack Ryan watches the attack on infrared images beamed by satellite, supposedly from North Africa to Langley in Virginia.
We spent a number of months doing tests to get the right look for that satellite imagery. We tested different fabrics for the see-through look of the tents, different colors for the costuming. Our computer graphics supervisor felt that real explosions would not translate well digitally, and I think we used peat or something like that to indicate an explosion. And he gave us we did tests. He took that material, he gave Philip Noyce different looks to select from. Philip, decided what he liked best, and then based on these tests and the materials and fabrics, we then set up a second unit shoot in the desert, shot that photography, which we then gave to John Walsh at Video Image, and he manipulated the images to give that look, which was then played back in the CIA satellite viewing room.
Continue to monitor.
That is a kill.
What's interesting about the scene is that when all is said and done and the terrorists have been killed, James Earl Jones turns to Harrison Ford and he says, "What do you think?" And when you write the script, you have to have a few pages of dialogue. Well, I think this and that, and I'm really glad they're gone, but I still feel kind of bad because I did kill. But Harrison said, "Forget this dialogue. Just put the camera on me."
It's over.
Excuse me again.
The chase that ends the movie was shot many times and in many different ways. Of course, it's not the ending to Tom Clancy's book, which took place on an ocean-going vessel in the Chesapeake Bay. And this particular sequence was mainly shot, believe it or not, in the parking lot of Paramount Pictures in Hollywood.
The ending they shot, Harrison Ford had jumped onto Sean Bean's boat, I believe, and they're fighting, and all of a sudden they realize there's these rocks coming, and they crash onto the rocks. And then there's this struggle on the rocks, and it ends with them in the water, and they're at each other's throats. And they're just choking, and you see the bodies sink, and it's an underwater shot of two bodies sinking to the bottom, still thrashing, and all of a sudden one keeps sinking, and one rises, and you're going, what is it?
And it was really pretty and really boring, because underwater you don't move very quickly. It's like a ballet, The old Tarzan movies, when Tarzan was stabbing the crocodile, they sped it up, and the crocodile. But this was two guys kind of waltzing. So after we looked at it, we knew it wasn't right, and yet we didn't have an ending.
Now, the audience saw this ending, and while it seemed great on a screenplay page, it didn't have that real wallop that audiences sort of wanted.
We're sitting one day racking our brains as to what to do. We got these two speedboats, and they fall off and they fight underwater. And I said, well, wait a minute, why don't we think of this as a Western? Why don't we make the speedboat side by side and let Sean Bean jump from his speeding boat into Harrison's boat and let them fight in the boat, and somehow let's get Sean Bean eliminated.
It was filmed on a stationary boat set up in a studio, augmented by some additional second unit shots. And the problem of how it was going to win and how was solved by having a bet each way.
So we got a hold of our stunt coordinator, and he choreographed a fight in the boat and took it even a step further. We had an anchor in the bow of the boat, and Ellis said, why doesn't Harrison just hit Sean, and Sean falls against the anchor and he dies.
So they reshot the ending, and that's when you see Sean Bean get the anchor through his heart, and that penalty tested a lot better.
It was a really good picture. It accomplished what we wanted it to do, which was to introduce Harrison as the new Jack Ryan.
Excuse me once more.
And introduce him, and introduce his family to, give it more body.
I think the CIA were really glad that they could be portrayed in a positive light for once in the movies. Particularly with Harrison Ford playing one of their analysts, a job that had not previously been spotlighted in the movies, but which is central to intelligence gathering.
I don't consider the Ryan series to be action films. They call them techno thrillers or thinking man's thrillers, and so you really have to develop character in these films. And we were dealing with a great movie star, actually.